Have you ever felt like you're not enough? Like no matter how hard you try, something inside still whispers, you should be better. You should be stronger. You should be more. In today's world, we live under the constant pressure of performance. We edit our pictures to look perfect. We hide our emotions so we don't appear weak. We hustle to prove our value to others, to society, and sadly, even to ourselves. But what if I told you that you don't have to keep performing? What if your value doesn't come from how polished or successful you appear, but from something far deeper, something unshakable? You don't have to clean yourself up to be worthy of love. You don't have to fix every flaw before you're allowed to show up. Real love, transformative, healing, soul-deep love, doesn't ask you to impress it. It asks you to come honestly. Come with your weariness. Come with your broken dreams. Come with the hope you barely have the courage to hold on to. Come just as you are. That's not weakness. That's the beginning of real strength. Because the moment you stop pretending is the moment you finally become free. This isn't about giving up. It's about giving in to something greater than fear, shame, or loneliness. There's a deeper kind of closeness available to you. Not the kind that depends on how spiritual you seem or how perfect your words sound, but the kind of intimacy that meets you where you are. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to perform to be seen. You just have to slow down enough to let your heart be real. There's a whisper that reaches your soul in the silence, a whisper of unconditional love. This closeness is not some distant ideal. It's an open invitation that never expires. And when you choose to draw near to it, something begins to shift. You start to see yourself through the lens of grace, not judgment. You begin to feel safe enough to be fully known and still fully accepted. We often think intimacy is something we have to earn, like a prize we get for being good enough. But the truth is, it's a gift, a sacred invitation that says, come close, even if you feel unworthy, especially then. Real connection doesn't require you to hide your scars. It welcomes them. Because your wounds are not disqualifications. They are proof that you've lived, that you've tried, that you've endured. The sacred space of intimacy teaches you that you don't have to hold it all together. You're allowed to fall apart here. And in that vulnerability, a healing begins. A restoration you didn't even know you needed. Now let's talk about something we all face: chaos. The world is noisy. Your relationships may be crumbling. Your finances may be uncertain. Your health may be hanging by a thread. And in the midst of this storm, you may feel like you're sinking. But let me ask you something. What are you anchored to? Because if your self-worth is tied to how well things are going on the outside, you'll be crushed by the waves. But if your identity is rooted in something deeper, in love that does not change, you become unshakable. Not because the storm stops, but because your soul knows where it belongs. Jesus taught that love is not fragile. It doesn't walk away when life gets hard. It doesn't wait until you've figured it all out. It shows up again and again, even when everything else is falling apart. That's the kind of love that anchors your soul. You can lose your job, but not your worth. You can be rejected by people, but not by this love. You can question your future, but still be held by hope. When you learn to live anchored in something greater than your circumstances, peace begins to rise. Peace that doesn't make sense to the world, but it makes all the sense in your heart. You might be asking, but how do I hold on when everything around me is falling apart? And the answer isn't in trying harder or pretending it's all okay. The answer is in surrender. Not the kind of surrender that means giving up, but the kind that means letting go of your illusion of control. Letting go of the lie that you have to carry it all alone. Letting go of the idea that your value depends on your performance. And reaching instead for the hand that never lets go. There's a power in that moment, when you stop striving and start abiding. When you stop hustling for approval and start resting in love. It doesn't mean life will suddenly become easy, but it does mean you won't walk through it alone. You'll have a presence beside you that knows your pain and still calls you beloved. You'll discover that even in your darkest night, you are not forgotten. Even in your deepest shame, you are not disqualified. And even in your loneliest hour, You are not invisible. That's what intimacy teaches us. That's what love does. It reaches beyond the surface and calls out the treasure within you. So today, if you're tired, come. If you're full of doubt, come. If you're afraid, still come. You don't need a polished version of yourself to be worthy of connection. You only need a willing heart. The invitation is here. To live anchored in love. To experience a closeness that frees you. To stop hiding and start healing. This is not just for the religious or the strong. It's for the weary, the wounded, and the wondering. It's for you. And if your heart is stirring even a little bit right now, don't ignore it. That's the invitation knocking. That's the whisper calling you closer. You were made for this kind of love. You were made to live free. You were made to come as you are and be embraced, not judged. So open the door. Step into that sacred space. And know, truly know, that you are enough. Have you ever stood in a crowded room and still felt alone? Have you ever smiled at someone while your heart was quietly breaking inside? In a world obsessed with being seen, liked, followed, and celebrated, the deepest need of the human soul is still the same. It's to belong, not just to a group or a community, but to something that sees us entirely and loves us anyway. That kind of belonging is rare in this world, but it's real, and it's waiting for you, not in the applause of others, but in the quiet, unwavering embrace of divine love. You weren't created to constantly fight for space in people's lives. You weren't made to keep reshaping yourself to be acceptable. The kind of belonging your heart craves isn't earned. It's offered. Offered in a space where your fears don't disqualify you, where your flaws don't push you away, where your silence is understood and your scars are safe. This spiritual belonging is your true home, a place where your soul can finally breathe. You don't have to impress anyone here. You don't have to hold back tears. You just have to come honestly. Come as you are and stay as long as you need. There, in that sacred space, you will find rest. The world may never stop demanding from you, but this love asks for only one thing, that you let it in, that you let it cover you when you feel most unworthy, that you let it remind you again and again that you are not lost, not forgotten, and never alone. This is not about religion. This is about relationship, the one you've always longed for, where your soul finds shelter under wings that don't fold under pressure. That is what Jesus modeled. That is what true love looks like. And maybe right now you're in a season that feels silent. You've been praying, waiting, hoping, and nothing seems to be moving. Days pass like pages of a book with no plot, and you start to wonder if life has stalled or if you've been left behind. I want to tell you this. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting is where growth happens in secret. It's the hidden work, the deep work, the sacred preparation. Think of a seed planted deep beneath the soil. It's surrounded by darkness. It feels pressure from every side. There is no applause, no visible progress. But deep within, something powerful is taking place. Roots are forming. Foundations are strengthening. And at just the right time, that seed breaks through the surface, not a second early, not a second late. Your life is no different. What feels like stillness may actually be sacred movement. You may feel like the world is passing you by, but in the silence, your soul is learning how to trust. Not just to wait, but to wait well. Jesus taught us that trust isn't passive. It's active surrender. It's choosing to believe that even when you can't see what's ahead, you are still being led. Even when the answers don't come, the silence is not empty. It's full of intention, full of preparation, full of love. You are not being punished in the delay. You are being prepared. What you're asking for may be good, but what's being prepared for you is greater. And sometimes the gap between the prayer and the answer is where your roots grow strongest. It's where your character is refined, your vision is cleared, your dependence deepens. So don't despise the waiting. It's doing more for you than any shortcut ever could. Now I know what you're thinking. Why is this taking so long? Why doesn't anything seem to change? And here's the truth. Divine timing doesn't follow human logic. It doesn't run by our calendars or respond to our countdowns. It moves by purpose, not pressure. What feels delayed in your world is often perfectly timed in a higher plan. A plan that sees what you can't. A plan that weaves your desires into something bigger than you imagined. So if you're in a season of waiting, let this comfort you. You have not been forgotten. You are not behind. You are being held in a process that is sacred, specific, and full of love. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out. Let go of the anxiety that says you're running out of time. Trust the one who holds time. Trust that even in the delay, you are growing. And one day, when the timing is right, you'll look back and realize it all made sense.